The moment my son slammed his palm on the dinner table, rattling glasses, silencing every breath in the room, I felt something inside me splinter. Not because of the noise, not because of the shock, but because of the look in his eyes. He wasn't angry at the situation. He was angry at me. And he wasn't done. Not even close. A storm was gathering inside him, a storm I never thought I'd see directed at his own father. The story. When you raise a child alone, you imagine futures for them, careers, happiness, love. You imagine them succeeding where you failed. You imagine them loving you back with the same devotion you poured into every long night, every missed meal, every broken bone in your tired body. What you don't imagine is seeing that same child, 26 years later, glaring at you across a dinner table as if you're a stranger who overstayed his welcome. The evening had begun so peacefully, it now felt like a cruel joke. Just a simple family dinner. Ethan, his wife Madison, and me. No celebration. No occasion. Just an attempt, my attempt, to feel like part of his life again. Ethan had recently invited me to move in, after I lost my tiny rental room due to rising prices. It embarrassed me deeply, but he insisted. I tried to be invisible. I cooked. I cleaned. I stayed out of their way. But tonight, the atmosphere was different. The politeness was gone. Something cold pulsed beneath the surface. Madison kept exchanging sharp, loaded glances with Ethan, tiny expressions that carried entire conversations. She never liked me. Her smiles were tight, strained like stretched plastic. Her tone always dipped slightly when addressing me. Her politeness had the temperature of an air-conditioned room, cold, artificial. But I never thought she would turn my own son against me. At least not this easily. Not in one perfectly aimed sentence. Halfway through dinner, she casually stabbed her fork into her plate and said, "So, did you look for a job today? Or was it another one of your retirement strolls again?" Retirement strolls. Her words were dipped in poison. Before I could even respond, Ethan's chair screeched backward, loud enough to pierce the air. "Madison," he said sharply, "not right now." "Why not?" she fired back. "He can't just keep living off us. We're newly married, Ethan. Food, electricity, laundry, everything is on us. When does this end?" I sat frozen. Living off them. I opened my mouth to explain, to defend, to beg. "Tum dono pi bajbana nahichata beta, main." But Ethan cut me off. He didn't just speak. He exploded. "Stop pretending, Dad." He shot up from his chair so violently, the entire table shook. "You're the worst father living off us." His voice crashed through the room, shattering everything inside me that still had softness left. The silence afterward felt louder than his scream. A flash of the past. I raised him alone. After his mother died, grief didn't give me time to collapse. Life didn't allow it. I worked double shifts, driving a taxi through dark streets at night, unloading trucks at dawn. I ate cheap food so he could eat better. I skipped new clothes so he could go on school trips. I carried him when he was tired. And I carried the weight of the entire world to make sure he wouldn't miss the warmth of a mother. Every birthday cake, I stayed awake night after night to afford. Every exam fee, every toy, every small happiness, I carved out of my bones. And now I was a burden. A problem. A man he was ashamed of. And hearing this inside the house I cleaned, at the table I sat, over the food I cooked. Yes, that was the pain that hollowed me out. The aftermath of the shout. Silence wrapped itself around the room like plastic suffocation. Madison leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, satisfaction flickering in her eyes like she was watching a scene she had long scripted. Ethan's chest rose and fell with heavy, uneven breaths. His jaw was clenched. His fists trembled. I swallowed everything inside me: pride, hurt, dignity. "Beta," I whispered, voice quivering, "if that's how you feel, I'll leave." He didn't say a word. No apology. No explanation. Not even a flinch. Madison took a slow sip of her wine, almost smiling. I stood, legs weak, vision blurred, and walked to my room. I didn't slam the door. I didn't even close it hard. It clicked shut with the sound of a man accepting his defeat, packing up a life in a bag. I didn't have much left. A few worn clothes. A photo of Ethan at 5 years old, grinning with cake smeared all over his face. A stack of job applications I had been too ashamed to show him because I didn't want him to think his father was useless. I sat on the narrow bed, staring at the photo. His small arms wrapped around my neck. His voice echoing in my memory. "Op Junior ki best papa ho." Now I was the worst. How cruelly time betrays the heart. I checked my wallet. 320 rupees. Enough for nothing. Not even dignity. Maybe the park bench near the masjid would be safe for a night or two. I zipped the bag, my whole life reduced to a single sound. Zip. Then, a knock. Before I could inhale, the door creaked open. Ethan stood there. Expression unreadable. Eyes haunted. Heart somewhere else. Confrontation. "Dad, we need to talk." I prepared myself. He stepped inside, shut the door. He didn't sit. He didn't soften. He stared at the floor like the truth was written there. "Look, Madison is right," he said finally. "You can't stay here forever. We need privacy, stability, a plan." A plan. As if I chose homelessness. As if poverty is a hobby. As if misfortune arrives with a courtesy call. "I understand," I whispered. "I'll leave tonight." He jerked his head up. "Tonight, Dad, don't be dramatic. That's not what I meant." "What else is left?" I asked softly. "You shouted at me in front of your wife. You called me the worst father." His face twisted, not with shame but irritation. "You always make everything emotional. I snap once and suddenly I'm a monster." I closed my eyes, steadying myself. "I didn't even want to move here. You insisted, Beta." He froze. Because it was true. And now I was paying for accepting his kindness. The unexpected truth. Madison's voice suddenly pierced the door. "Ethan, are you done babysitting?" Babysitting. For a moment, I felt my heart physically ache. Ethan didn't yell at her. Didn't defend me. Didn't correct her. He simply walked out, leaving me in a room that now felt like a coffin. The final straw. Around midnight, I quietly stepped out with my bag. But as I crossed the living room, whispers curled through the air. Madison's voice, sharp like broken glass. "You need to make him leave. He's draining you. He's your father, not mine." Ethan's voice was low, tired. "You're right, I'll handle it tomorrow." Handle it. Handle me. Like a leaking pipe. Like a piece of junk. Something shattered inside me, not loudly, but silently, the way glass breaks under heavy pressure. The turn. I didn't leave. Something held me back. Hope, fear, love, or the refusal to walk away without at least saying goodbye properly. I woke early and cooked breakfast. Paratha's omelette chai. The same breakfast he loved as a child. Maybe one last gesture of love. But fate had a different plan. At 10 a.m. the doorbell rang. The landlord arrived. "Oh, I thought Ethan told you. The rent is going up, needs signatures. My breath caught. Rent, but Ethan said they own this house. The landlord stared at me as if I had sprouted horns. Owned beta, they're renting. Renting. Struggling. Drowning. Yet blaming me. Everything clicked in that moment. It wasn't about me being a burden. They needed a villain. Someone safe to blame. And who is safer to blame than the one who loves you unconditionally? The breakdown. I confronted Ethan in the kitchen. You lied, I said quietly. You said this house was yours. He froze mid-step. Dad, it was easier. We didn't want you to worry. Madison didn't want you to know. And yet she blamed me, I whispered. He swallowed. Dad, I messed up. And then it came out. The business loss. The debt. The rising rent. The stress. The shame. He had been drowning. And in his panic, he grabbed onto the easiest scapegoat. Me. My anger softened, but my pain didn't vanish. Some wounds heal slowly. But they do heal. The resolution. We talked for hours. He apologized again and again. Real apologies, trembling ones, the kind that crawl out from beneath layers of guilt. I didn't forgive instantly. Love forgives. But dignity does not forget. Still I stayed. Not because I needed a roof, but because he was and always would be my son. Epilogue. Months later. Life changed. Ethan found a better job. Madison thawed, not warmly but enough. We rebuilt, not perfectly but honestly. He never raised his voice at me again. Not once. Because that day taught him something priceless. A father's heart may break, but breaking doesn't mean it stops beating. It keeps loving. Quietly. Painfully. Unconditionally. Always. Moral. 1. Never judge the one who once sacrificed everything for you. 2. Respect given to parents is respect returned by life. 3. Ego breaks families, empathy repairs them.